Hi everybody, Geraldine Rose here. I tried foiling on photo paper and it worked. The day before the Crushing Christmas InstaHOP, I remembered that I needed to get an ornament overload card done for it. I grabbed out my Spellbinder's delightful Christmas hot foil plate because I hadn't used it in a while. And I also remembered all that photo paper that I had. So we're doing an experiment. I wanted to see, will photo paper hot foil? And you can see here as we pull it off, oh my gosh, yes it does. It's such a smooth glossy surface that it took it really well. I grabbed out some of my old foils that I had used for other stuff and I ran them through my solid plate. I was just going to use parts of those that did turn out. For these little lights, I did those in gold colors and in red foil colors. I ended up throwing out the green foil ones that were for the bottom of the lights, and then I just went to a standard green cardstock for that. You can see here though, I'm just running this little die multiple times through and using my triangle trays to put the little pieces in. I did end up spilling it, not once, not twice, but 3 times, as I had tucked them in a corner that I thought was safe, but every time I pulled out the item that I needed it behind it, I tipped it on the edge. Anyways, problem averted. We had enough to do this. I goofed around again with a bokeh style of ink blending for this photo paper. So whatever ink you put down first is what's going to grab in that spot, because photo paper, it doesn't like getting wet, and inks are wet. So you're putting those in and you will see that you can see the striations and the little teeny bits of blending, and it's not ever going to get out. But when you put sprays over top of it, you get neat effects. So I'm putting down the greens, I'm putting down the reds, I'm making certain that they're little circles. I know that when I do put my spritz sprays over top, which is here, that it is going to spread out. This was another panel that I had done. I thought I would do a second card. I ended up using this one as a mat. So that's why I left it in here, this footage. Here is the green one. So I'm using one of the spritz sprays. I think it was the antique linen one over the top. It's a really nice light color. Wiping off your nozzle, and I'm misting it with some water because that is going to cause those distress sprays to run into the spots where the ink wasn't. Put some Ranger picket fence over top of it because this is kind of a pigment style of spray. It doesn't react well with the spritz sprays and it will, like gasoline effect it, push it out. So once that was all dry, I ran it through with the mix and match frames from Altenew. I thought the little dots would go well with the bokeh style of ink blending that we had. I also got out the Simon Says stamp, the Christmas Blessings, because I wanted to stamp one main sentiment just right in the middle in that space that we had, and the other sub-sentiment was already foiled from that hot foil plate. So I used gold pigment ink, which is going to grab this detail fine gold embossing powder that we've got here. And I did use my anti-static tool on that so that it wouldn't have stray pieces of powder all over in the other spots. You can see it took it really well. Tapping it off. I'm heating it from the back because this is photo paper. And this stuff, you've got to move quick. It does bubble. I didn't film that part, but I did start cracking it. And I thought, oh, that looks like electricity coming off the lights. So I kept going with it. Now, I am putting down ultra sticky tape in the back because I knew I was going to mat several layers and I didn't want it coming up too thick like it would with foam tape. So you can see that there's different widths there that you can put down. So I've got it on the red foil background that I've got for the first, and I didn't cut that one down. I knew that it would be easier for me just to set it into place and cut it after. So that's what I was doing there. And then the secondary mat, which is the green textured one underneath, I just put the ultra sticky tape directly down onto it. And the same thing, I am going to just stick the panel down over top and then I'm going to crop it out. We need to get those little lights down. We're going to alternate the red foil and the gold foil, putting a little bit of glue down, using my perfect picker, and you can see I've got the ends off of both sides. One is the wax side, one is the pushy around stick side, the pick side. I'm not certain what you call it. Anyways, the pointy end. And Once those are down, I'm bringing in the little pieces of green cardstock that were the light receptacles down at the bottom. I did forget that one way up in the top left-hand corner, but you'll see if we get it later. All right, we're going to jump to the inside of the card. And this was still using that Christmas Blessing stamp set. Lovely fonts in that one where they have the fonts that are mixed and matched. So you've got some block letters and some script ones. I did tones of green and red. You can see I used my brush to ombre the bottom out. The red's going to go down at the bottom. And then after we get those guys set into place, to bring in a little bit of light glow, we've got out a gold pigment ink, and we're going to put that across everything, and that's going to give it that little shimmer glow all the way around the outside of those letters. Then I thought, well, I have a few lights left over aside from all the ones I spilled, and let's tuck those on the inside of the card. So I'm gluing those down, and I got a better idea what I was going to do with them later, but you'll see that. You'll see that. Okay, the custom stamp on the back. I thought, oh, I got red and green going on. I'm going to try ombreing this too. So I dipped in the green on one side and the red on the other side. And then I went back to the green and I rolled it back. And I'm going to put it down here and just see how it took. And it didn't turn out too bad. Anyway, this was the black panel that I ended up not using. I am, of course, just putting some glue on the back of it so that I can get it set on my A2 card. I do have this in a horizontal alignment so that you can put it over a string, because a lot of us still hang our Christmas cards up. Acrylic block over the top to, flatten everything out. And then I got out the pigment ink again. I got out gold, and I got out some of the interference inks from Lisa Horton in Pumpkin Spice, and I went around the red and the gold lights with that and diffused it. And I'm doing the same on the inside of the card. Then I got out a fine liner and I drew in parts of the electrical wiring on the lights, and then a little bit of green alcohol marker over the top. Glossy accents on the front of the lights. I'm doing more towards where the bulb portion is, and then I'm dragging it out with the tip of the glossy accents just for that little tip where the little pointy end of the lights is. Then I fixed that little left-hand top corner guy. Yay! He has his green receptacle now. So that's the finished card. I did throw the stickles on it. 3 different types of stickles just for an extra little bit of shine. I hope you guys got a giggle out of this. Go do some experimenting in your craft room. Be that change you want to see in the world. I want to thank everybody that's been subbing and liking and commenting. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.